I have a story out yesterday that really tries to explain why the framing that Sam Bankman-Fried has presented in these various interviews is not just confused, but actively deceptive. And it's because there are very clear crimes that took place. And, there are some nuances having to do with jurisdiction. Obviously, it's a question of whether these specific things are going to be able to be pursued. And as by way of sort of transition, this is a tweet that I posted last night while I was watching the interview that captures both, I think, the core of his deception and also my slightly visceral emotional reaction, which is why there's a little bit blanked out there. But there are so many dimensions to this, and I really would encourage people to read the piece. But I think that the core things are summed up here, which is that he talks a lot in the interview about the margin position got bigger than I thought. The margin position was too big. And I was surprised. He's acting like he had no idea. In fact, FTX had created, and the bankruptcy lawyers figured this out, FTX had created a special exemption for Alameda Research that prevented them from getting stopped out on margin positions. They essentially could go as far negative as they wanted to on their trades without having their collateral liquidated. And that creates incredible competitive advantages for them on a derivatives exchange and creates huge risks for the users. And the other thing that I think I really want to hammer home, there's nothing more important in the debate right now than this. Describing this as a bank run is deceptive. And anybody who describes it as a bank run is helping Sam Bankman-Fried conceal his crimes. That needs to be hammered home as hard as possible. A crypto exchange is not a bank. They should not be loaning your assets to anyone, much less an affiliated margin trading firm, hedge fund, that has a special privilege to trade itself into debt on the exchange. I mean, it's insane. There is no rationalization. There is no justification. This is criminal fraud. I'm sorry, I will let's rant for a minute if anybody wants to jump in so I don't yell myself hoarse here. Will, you want to explain why the oh, sorry, Jen, go ahead.
I'll just go quickly and then Will can take it over. In last night's interview, he said, I think near the end of the interview, or maybe one of the last things he said, was at times he saw himself as a marketer for FTX. And I took issue to that because he insinuated that marketers at times maybe bend the truth or hide information. And it just makes me look... Heaven forbid. Marketers don't do that and shouldn't do that, especially in this space. It makes me go back in time and look at everything that he said with a grain of salt. Like, what was true? When did Sam see himself as a marketer? Was he always hiding things from us? I know, David, you pointed out in your article the bailouts piece. And after last night's interview and after reading your article, I look at these bailouts in a totally different light. Was he just covering his butt? Did he know what was happening all along? And he was just, putting Band-Aids over holes and trying to make this house of cards not fall. It is just so, I don't know, upsetting. I'm getting emotional too, David. Will?
Yeah, I'll sign really quick and throw it back up to David. The thing that really stands out to me is the line of questioning in all these interviews. They're not very sophisticated, and that's okay because it's not very crypto native people asking these questions, or even finance people, right? This whole conversation has blown up so large that mainstream media is now involved, and we just have classic talking heads in mainstream media talking to Sam Bankman-Fried as opposed to crypto journalists or crypto natives. And if we look at the crypto native side of things, there are some important questions that still need to be answered, such as when did Alameda get into this bad debt? We had the Terra Luna crash earlier this year. That blew out a lot of different hedge funds. That blew out Three Arrows Capital. That blew up all these different lending firms. And a lot of people have speculated that that was the cause, or at least the first hiccup. But then there's stuff even going back further, right? With GBTC, which is a very popular trading instrument in crypto, going negative. That discount, that premium disappeared, and a lot of people were underwater because of that instrument going negative. And so we can back up the chart even further. Then there's questions about the ties between Alameda and FTX. And there's some on-chain analysis showing that, hey, they've been trading back and forth since the inception of the two. And there's been some lies between SBF and others saying that, no, they've been separate for a very long time, or maybe they were working together at the beginning and then later they separated. So I think there's still like a lot of on-chain analysis and crypto questions that need to be asked. And I'm looking forward to more of that coming out. I think we're gonna have to wait a while for those to be answered.
Sorry, Zach, we have a hard out, so I need to do one thing before we go here. This is obviously very complex. We had a tweet earlier today come out where the head of the CFTC is calling this a classic run. So even he doesn't understand what's going on. And if you are among the many who are confused, we have something for you. I have a show that we have created that will be coming out early next year called Crypto Crooks, where we, as people who really know what we're talking about, go into depth on some of these things. So keep an eye out. We will be out in early January talking first about BitConnect.